decided it would be best to start over again from the beginning.
But when we tried to do so, we found the beginning was no longer where we thought it had been. We did find something there that was like the beginning.
Something that reminded us of the beginning, that resembled what we had remembered, but it wasn't the same. The beginning was no longer the beginning, but a mere simulacrum.
After some discussion, we decided to start over again from the mere simulacrum, but that too turned out to be dubitable.
Having not yet started from the simulacrum, we found we were naturally unable to start over again from it. And so, at an impasse, we sat there in the bar, staring at ourselves in the full-width mirror, nursing our drinks.
Broke the silence first, as usual, to suggest that we set up a mirror facing a plain sheet of glass. We looked at him incredulously in the newly repaired silence and went back to our drinks.
Davis then wondered what would happen if we placed two mirrors facing each other, which made us all laugh, and so we left the bar in good humor, though still at an impasse.
After all that, we decided it would be best to meet the next day at the impasse to discuss our roles in Perfect, the new opera by Davis Menace that will be performed in the future.
That will have been performed in the future?
That will have been being performed prior to this performance tonight, in the past, the present past, but otherwise identical to the same opera with an entirely different cast, the same as always, and music that is new but identical to what will have been played at its world premiere 2 years from now.
Only the setting has remained changed from what it will have become by the time everything will have already happened, with the identical cast but different characters.
Before rehearsal, we met up at an exhibition of mirrors set up to reflect the trees in the park outside. Roz noticed that the windows had also been set up to look out at the trees in the park.
Davis noticed that he kept disappearing and reappearing as he walked around the exhibit. Oz noticed that there were 4 villains, maybe more. Both Oz's noticed this.
Around the corner, Veronica had found a painting of the trees in the park. Was that set up on purpose? We met up at that painting to decide. After some idle speculation and in a triumph of intellect and ingenuity, we decided that intent didn't matter.
Only our noticing. At rehearsal, we were handed our parts. Veronica, a potter and gardener who worked at Card Services. Davis, an incomprehensible but immensely popular writer from the American South. Croz, an obscure tech giant. Oz, a giant of Czech banking. And Willem, the putative composer of this opera. We found this all very confusing, and so we professed ourselves ready and willing.
Story so far, Croz, 2 Z's, sits in a dimly lit tavern plotting with Oz, 1 Z. Veronica, 1 V, sits in a dimly lit tavern plotting with Willem, 2 L's, to hijack the very opera you are enjoying so much.
Davis, no letters, has become a graffiti artist, standing in a dimly lit alley off of Argentinska, surrounded by cans of spray paint and a swarm of feral cats. The wall he faces is already covered with flyers and paint, torn and superimposed, imposed and superimposed. His peculiar genius consists of transforming this wall into a simulacrum. When he is done, his work, like Pierre Menard's Quixote, will be seen as more subtle than the original and infinitely richer and more ambiguous.
Afterwards, all that remained was disappearance and reappearance, plots and counterplots, silence and noise, painting and erasure, drinking and not drinking. Mirrors are set up so that they reflect nothing. Speakers are set up so that they carry no signals. A video plays in the forest where no one can see it.
There is no reality outside of this room.
But there soon will be. In the meantime, the 2 hours traffic of our stage will take about 30 minutes.
Without telling anyone, the cast has decided to rehearse in front of a live audience.
The illusion is complete. A mirror on which to dwell, or in which to drown, literal or figurative.
Davis and Cross take their drinks over to a dimly lit booth and commence some plotting ad libitum.
Oz and Veronica do the same. This leaves Willem to face a wall surrounded by cats and spray cans. He's never been happier.
The plot, such as it is, has been thoroughly scrambled. The cast has never been happier.
During rehearsal, the new opera kept appearing and reappearing as the cast moved across the space, shuffling characters and moving mirrors about.
Davis painted graffiti in real time, as he would the evening of the performance, on a wall set up for the purpose. Willem suggested placing a mirror facing a plain piece of glass, broken around the wall where Davis sprayed orange, then blue, then orange, then green, then blue, then orange in real time on the stage, facing a mirror set up for that purpose.
In the meantime, a different group looked at itself in the full-width mirror over the bar and had none of the same thoughts.
They appeared in the mirror. They appeared to be drinking in the mirror.
They appear to have taken over our space in the bar.
Well, in a bar, everyone takes up space, and everyone appears in the full-width mirror to be taking up space and creating an illusion.
In the meantime, we worked in rehearsal on creating an illusion, but no one was fooled.
No one was fooled.
No one will be fooled. No one will have been being able to have been fooled in the past, or in the present, or in the future perfect tense. Will have faced a plain piece of mirror set up in the park to reflect the outside of a museum.
In the middle of this performance, there will be a brief intermission, indistinguishable from anything else that is going on and unremarked.
As the second half opens, the cast are scattered about the space, acting and interacting, disappearing and reappearing, speaking and refraining from speech. As the play progresses, the characters become more believable than the actors playing them. The reflections in the mirrors look more real than the mirrors themselves. The plot advances swiftly, so swiftly that no one can follow it anymore, and the whole edifice of artifice collapses.
The audience is imaginary and notices nothing. The cast is equally so and continues acting. The musicians continue playing, as does the illusory video.
The author, himself a figment of someone else's imagination, walks about the space, picking up pieces of edifice and humming quietly to himself. A streetcar clatters past outside the hall and everyone rests content. Thanks to the skillfully placed mirrors, the cast of thousands takes the opera into regions of flight and fancy heretofore unimagined. It's hard to imagine a more perfect show.
After rehearsal, we all meet up at our favorite bar with the full-width mirror and the half-price drinks to talk out loud about what we have done. Ross shows up late, carrying a plain piece of glass. Without a word, he places it facing the mirror. Oz disappears and reappears as Willem doodles on a serviette with pepper, whiskey, and toothpicks. Davis recounts in exquisite detail everything that has happened so far. Then Veronica discounts everything that has been assessed too highly. Everyone is in perfect agreement, setting the scene for the first performance 2 years from now.
What you are seeing at the moment does resemble that genuine and earliest performance, and will be the only version of it that you will ever see, except for tonight.
Such is the magic of theater. As we then all go our separate ways, the memory of the night to come will live on in our hearts and minds long before it ever happens. Such is the theater of absurdity.
The five of us meet up at our favorite bar again.
Such is the persistence of memory. at it for some time, Oz wondered if the sheet of glass were facing the mirror or facing away from it. Davis said he thought it was facing away from the mirror. Cross said he had purposely placed it facing the mirror as written in the script only one page back.
After a moment of silence, Veronica said that a piece of glass is not the kind of thing that faces or doesn't face, either one. Veronica begins to whisper to Willem about the new opera he is composing. Oz and Kraz begin to whisper too, more softly and further away so that no one knows what they are saying, not even themselves.
Davis is around the corner surrounded by spray cans and petrol-soaked rags and all the cats of the neighborhood. He faces a blank wall in much the same way as he used to face a blank piece of paper, with joy and terror.
The mirrors have been set up all through the performance space in such a way as to convey all of this without need of any words. You can imagine it all easily enough, given half a chance. After all that, we decided to start over again from the beginning. But the beginning had moved, was no longer where we were sure we had left it. We found something there that did resemble what we remembered the beginning to have been. It was like the beginning, it just wasn't the same. We realized that the beginning, if it existed at all, was no longer the beginning, but a mere simulacrum.
So we decided we would start over again from the mere simulacrum. What we found was that we were attempting to duplicate something we had not yet done. We had started from the beginning. We were sure of that. What we had never done was start from the mere simulacrum. Starting again was thus out of the question.
Faced with an impasse, we sat there in the bar, staring at ourselves in the full-width mirror and thinking about what we had done.
The next day, we met as if nothing had happened, and we discussed our roles in the new opera by Davis Menace as if such a thing had never been written.
Kraz then hands the completed libretto to Veronica, who reads it quickly before passing it on to Davis. Willem and Kraz finish painting a wall outside, while Oz photographs the entire process. Their roles merge and splinter and recombine over and over again until the next show, when everything would start up again, completely the same, under different circumstances that resemble what is yet to come.
Future, past, and present merge and splinter and recombine over and over again until the whole process has been photographed and all the characters finish their brief traffic. Audience and cast merge and splinter and recombine over and over again until we meet at the bar with the fold-width mirror to reminisce about all the things we've done, as well as all the things we've yet to do.
After all that, it was clear that we had done what we had done. And while we did it, it was clear that it was being done. Having been done, there was nothing left to do, so we concluded that we were done. We had done it, and all that was left to do besides nothing was to go on to some new thing that should be done, and done quickly.
Davis had the last word.
'Twere best